The sun is a hammer. It beats down on the savannah, forging the air into a shimmering blade that cuts the horizon. Dust, fine as pollen, coats every living thing. For the clan, a band of 12 homo habilis moving through the bristle, yellow grass. The world has shrunk to a single, relentless sensation hunger. It is a hollow ache in their bellies, a weakness in their limbs, a feral sharpness in their eyes. They are too small, too slow to bring down the herds of wild beasts that thunder across the plains. Their simple order and tools, choppers of flaked stone, are for butchering, not for the killing blow. This is the reality of prehistoric life. Survival is not a matter of strength, but of opportunity, and the courage to seize it. The old one, a female with a web of scars on her shoulder and eyes that hold the memory of a dozen dry seasons, halts the group with a low grunt. They melt into the grass, becoming just another part of the landscape. Ahead, moving with a liquid grace that belies its power, is their chance. Hey Dino fellas, the false saber-tooth, stalks the edge of a dwindling waterhole. It is a solitary engine of muscle and fang, the embodiment of lethal efficiency. The clan does not see a monster, they see a provider. They are not here to hunt the cat. They are here to hunt its hunt. This is a new, terrifying wisdom, a strategy born from desperation that will either feed them for a week or kill them in a minute confrontational scavenging. They move in parallel to the predator, a silent, red shadow. The young ones, wide-eyed and terrified, stay in the center of the formation, their hands clutching the legs of their mothers. Each adult has already gathered their weapons. They are not spears or axes, but stones, fist-sized, heavy, chosen for their heft and their sharp, accidental edges. This is primitive technology repurposed for psychological warfare. The plan is an unspoken contract, a choreography of risk understood through gestures and shared glances. They will let the killer do its work. They will let it exhaust itself in the chase and the kill. And then, at the peak of its fatigue and satisfaction, this small group of human ancestors will attempt the unthinkable. They will try to become the greater threat. The old one watches the cat tense, its muscles coiling like a serpent. The gamble is on. The long wait begins. The wildebeest's final bellow is choked off by a mouthful of dirt and a crushing weight on its throat. The dino fellas holds the frantic, shuddering body down, its own flanks heaving from the chase. Dust settles for a moment. The only sounds are the cat's ragged breaths and the wet tearing as it begins to open the belly. This is the moment the old one has been waiting for. She rises from the grass, not as a predator, but as a force of nature in her own right. A sharp, guttural cry slices through the air, the signal. The savannah explodes. From the grass, a dozen figures erupt. A wave of coordinated chaos. They're a chorus of threats. They scream. They hoot. They pound stones together, creating a discordant clang that rattles the nerves. Rocks, poorly aimed but numerous, arc through the air. They thud into the ground around the cat, kick up dust, a few striking its thick hide with impotent but irritating thumps. The dino fellas rears back from its kill, a low, guttural growl vibrating in its chest. It is a creature of singular, focused violence, and this multi-fronted, nonsensical assault is an affront to the natural order. It wipes a paw, claws extended, at the empty air, a warning of absolute power. But the clan does not retreat. This is a critical juncture in human evolution, a test of a new idea. One young male, fueled by a surge of adrenaline, breaks from the line. He scrambles closer, hurling his stone with all his might. It strikes the cat on the shoulder. The reaction is instantaneous. A blur of tawny muscle, a flash of claw. The male screams as for deep gashes are carved into his thigh. He stumbles back, dragging a leg that now flows with blood. For any other creature, this would be the end of the assault. But for these early humans, it is the catalyst. The sight of their own blood galvanizes them. Their screams double in intensity. The females rush forward, not to attack, but to grab the arms of the injured male, hauling him back into the relative safety of the mob. It is an act of pure social cohesion. The group risking everything for one of its own. Their unified front is their only weapon. The relentless pressure, the disorienting noise, the stinging rain of stones. It is too much. The cat looks from its hard-won meal to the manic, bleeding, unyielding mob. The prize is no longer worth the price. With a final, furious snarl, it backs away, and then turns, melting back into the tall grass from which it came. The silence the cat leaves behind is heavier than the noise it endured. For a heartbeat, the clan stands frozen, chests heaving, the stench of blood and sweat sharp in the dry air. Then, the spell breaks. There is no roar of triumph, only a frantic, desperate scramble toward the carcass. Their victory is a flickering candle in a hurricane, and the winds are already rising. The first priority is not the meat, but their own wounded. The old one shoves two younger members toward the wildebeest with a guttural command, then kneels beside the male with the torn thigh. His face is a mask of pain, teeth clenched against a whimper. Using a shard of flint, she cuts a strip of hide from the kill, her movements practiced and economical. She binds it tightly above the deep, welling gashes, a crude but vital tourniquet. This knowledge, this act of care, is the invisible sinew that holds their fragile society together. It is a core tenet of their survival skills. The others fall upon the wildebeest with their old Owen tools. The choppers are clumsy, designed for smashing bone and thick hide, not for elegant butchery. It is brutal, exhausting work. Knuckles are bloodied, flint slips in greasy hands. They hack off great chunks of meat, tearing sinew with their teeth. Two males, their faces grim, stand as sentinels, peering into the tall grass. Their ears straining against the low moan of the wind for the sound that is sure to come. They are a small island of hominid history in the making. Surrounded by an ocean of hunger, the scent of a fresh kill travels fast on the Pleistocene plains. They eat as they work, gorging themselves on the raw, warm flesh. It is a desperate, primal communion, the fuel for the dangerous journey home. And then the sound comes. The long, whooping call of a spotted hyena, answered by another, and then another. The sentinels tense, gripping their stones tighter. The old one looks up from her work, her eyes sweeping over the clan, the half-butchered carcass, and the darkening sky. The hyenas will not be intimidated as easily as the lone cat. A pack is a different kind of mouth, a different kind of fear. She makes the hard choice, a final. She'll bark, leave it. They grab what they can. Great. Bloody haunches of meat slung over their shoulders, ribs clutched in their hands. The group of Homo habilis retreats, leaving more than half the kill to the approaching dusk and its rightful owners. They move off, a limping, burdened, and blood-soaked procession. They have won, but the cost is etched on the face of the injured male, and the weight of the feast is a heavy, precarious burden. Embosomed echoes. The clan melts back into the scrubland, becoming ghosts against the setting sun. The sounds of the hyenas squabbling over the abandoned carcass fade behind them. What we have just witnessed is more than a successful act of scavenging. It is a foundational moment in the story of us. A bloody page in the annals of prehistory that would be lost to time, if not for the clues left in stone and bone for the science of archaeology to uncover. This encounter on the ancient African savannah was a neurological gamble. It was a test of a revolutionary hypothesis that a network of cooperating minds, armed with a plan and a shared language of risk, could overcome an adversary of superior strength. This is the essence of the anthropology of our ascent. That frantic, chaotic chorus of threats was the precursor to every coordinated human endeavor. From the building of pyramids to the mapping of the human genome, it was a declaration that for this new kind of hominin, the future would not be determined by the sharpness of the tooth, but by the complex power of the group. If you feel compelled to bear witness to these echoes, become a fellow chronicler. Your click is a nod across the millennia to the courage of the small. How much of that ancient calculus, of risk weighed against reward, of personal sacrifice for the tribe's survival, still hums in the bedrock of our own societies. An instinct we have inherited but no longer fully understand. The past is never silent. It only waits for us to learn how to listen. But what happens when the greatest threat is not the one you can see, but the one you carry inside you?